Hey everyone, today we're going to be working on the shoulder pieces. I'm going to show you how I put on some spikes on one side and some layering details and a wound on the other side. Without any further delay, let's get started. I was trying to come up with an idea of what I wanted to do for the shoulder pieces, and I kind of thought it would be cool to do something with a layered look going from top to bottom, and then in the center we'll have kind of a broken open sort of wound, as it were, coming from the midline there. We'll use some foam clay later on in the build to kind of create that effect, but for right now we're going to get started cutting out the craft foam in this 3mm thickness that we'll use for the layering aspect of it. So we have our craft foam cut out here, and we made a distance of just about an inch, or the thickness of a ruler. And what we're going to do is glue them on to the shoulder piece here, following those lines that we made as a guide on both sides, and then we'll just cut off any excess that we have of the material following the outer edge. I went ahead and heated up the craft foam here just to make sure that it would not only mold easily to the shoulder piece, but also mold pretty easily to each other as we layer them up the shoulder piece here. And all I did was just run my thumb and my index finger across them like that so they'd bend a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and start gluing them with the hot glue gun, and again we're just going to layer them starting from the bottom and moving all the way upwards to the top of the shoulder piece there. And as we work our way up the shoulder piece, I'm going to be layering each piece just about a ½ inch inside the former piece. So this next one is going to be placed just about there, and we'll just follow that same style all the way up the armor. Alright, so now that we have all of the layers done on the front piece, on the front side of it, I'm going to flip it over here and we'll cut off all the excess material. And the beautiful thing about this is all that excess material that we have, we can just use for the other side of the shoulder piece, and we don't have to worry about cutting out any more of these extra strips here. And there it is. Obviously we'll be doing a lot of cleaning up of the edges. We'll fill in those seams either with the quick seal or the foam clay, maybe both, but we'll sand those edges, clean them up real nice. They'll look a lot smoother, a lot more uniform. But I like the effect that it has, that nice layered look. We'll clean up those edges, we'll put the foam clay on this inside edge as well, and that'll get that kind of scarred sort of tissue, gaping wound sort of feel that we're looking for. We'll replicate this process on the other side of the shoulder piece as well, and we'll just be using these extra scrap pieces that we have to do the same thing on the other side. So we went ahead and repeated the same process on the other side of the shoulder piece here. I already cleaned up the edges, as you can see as well. There's a little bit of a space between the top of this last craft foam piece and the same piece on the other side, and I was thinking I'd clean that up in the sanding process and sand down to make it level with the other side, and sand this down lower as well. But I think what I'm going to do instead is cover this part up with the foam clay and have it bleed over into the rest of the piece as we go down the center line on the inside of the shoulder blade. So what we're going to go ahead and do is jump into using the foam clay now, and we'll start filling in those sides to get started with the wound aspect of the shoulder piece. Looks good for now. I like that entry kind of aspect on the top here and we just cover it up. Again, that mistake that we had made with the craft foam, which looks nice, and it kind of bleeds over and then down into the rest of the shoulder blade. The rest of this looks pretty good. We'll be cleaning it up obviously with the sanding, along with the sides and filling in some of these gaps that we have here. But for right now, I like the way this looks on the inside, and we'll go and replicate that process on the other side here. So we finished up filling in the left side and the right side with the foam clay on the shoulder piece. I went ahead and filled the center of it as well, just to make it look a little bit more uniform. We'll be doing a lot of sanding on it once we get to the sanding stage, as with all the other armor pieces, just to kind of fill things in a little bit more, make it look a little bit more smoother. And that's when we'll also put in some of the details too, of maybe either some cracks, just to show some degradation over time. And for right now, we're gonna call it good on this shoulder piece, and we'll move over to the other shoulder. For right now, we're just going to go ahead and glue on the spikes for this piece, and then I think we'll call it quits for both the shoulder pieces until we get into that sanding and detailing phase. So we'll go ahead and let the hot glue dry on this piece. The last thing we're going to do on this particular piece before we sand in those details and call it finished is put some foam clay around the base of each one of the spikes to not only increase the stability and the structural integrity of each piece a little bit more, but also just to add that effect of the infection growing on this particular shoulder piece. But for right now, we'll call the shoulder piece finished here. And those will be our two shoulder pieces that we'll use for this build. Thanks for watching the video, everyone. I'm really excited about the details that we have on the shoulder pieces so far, and looking forward to putting on some additional details on them as well as other pieces in the armor later on in the process. I'll see you in the next video, and remember, be safe and be careful.